Okay, hello. How you guys doing? I guess I'm recording. Yes, I am recording. Well, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that is going on in Venezuela. Lately, Venezuela has been in the news a lot, and I find there's a lot of misinformation depending on what kind of channels you watch, if the channels from the left, channels from the right, RT, there's some channels I didn't know they are basically from Russia, from Iran. So even if you think they are just, they're on YouTube and they're just giving you the truth, actually, they're not. So depending on what channel you watch, is the information you're going to get. Very seldom I have seen somebody portraying the entire truth of what's going on there. And lately, with this administration, with the Trump administration, finally, the international community has started to take um, interest for what's going on there because it's pretty serious what's going on there. I mean, we at this point have the largest immigration crisis uh, in the Western Hemisphere, even worse than Syria at this point. And we're not at war. Well, we might as well be at war, but we're not. But clearly, what I wanted to explain, because I see people, especially in the United States, there are code pink or, hands of Venezuela, and people protest and they're not even from there and they don't even know what's going on. I have people where in our embassy in Washington, a bunch of people that the regime was paying, the dictator was paying for them to occupy the embassy. And what's going on is started in 1999. Unfortunately, we vote. I didn't vote, and I have never voted for these people. But it was Chavez. He was like a revolutionary. That people in Venezuela were tired of the two main um, parties, political parties, and 5 years will Copey win, and the other 5 years Acción Democrática will win, and that they were never, you know, um, I mean, they were much better than what we have now, but they weren't quite efficient as people expected, and they were corrupted, but nothing like like the dictators that have been, like the left, the socialist. Um, and before I thought I was, more progressional and stuff like that, and then after what happened in my country, I really, really has changed my entire view of politics. I wasn't a political person before, I wasn't interested in it at all. But now, with all the lessons that I have learned, I I am very political. And I'm very aware of what's going on in my country, even though I left my country like 25 years ago. I married an American and came to the United States. I met him there in Venezuela, but I have lived here before. Actually, I was in Houston, Texas. I came to learn English. I knew some, but I wanted to learn more because it was very important, uh, career wise, to know English in Venezuela. So I came to Houston and I stayed here for like 9 months, and that's all I did was go to school to learn English. Well, I didn't like being in Houston at the time. I really hated it because, my city where I was born in Caracas, Venezuela, it was just incredible. The weather was perfect. It was never hot. It was never cold. I lived in front of a huge mountain. It's a dead volcano that you can see all over the city, and we just had a wonderful life. I wasn't rich or poor. We lived comfortable. I had incredible jobs and opportunities, and I was just like super happy. We went to the beach. That was our thing, going to the beach. You can go. We're in the north of South America, so the Caribbean is. We have, I don't know how many miles, but we have lots of kilometers, like probably 2,000 kilometers, I think, of coast, and all goes into the Caribbean. I mean, the beaches there are incredible, and you can hit a different one every weekend. So, I'm sorry. We all had, like, my friends and myself. We all had a second house in the beach. So we all, we worked during Monday through Friday. Friday afternoon, we took a car and we went to the beach. Life was wonderful. There was not any concern at all. I never worry about politics. I never care about any politics at the time. Then I got married and came to live in the United States. I have lived everywhere in the world because my husband was in the oil industry. That's why we met, because Venezuela is the largest. We have the largest um, reserves in the world. I mean, we have more oil than anybody, than Saudi Arabia, than Iran, than anybody. We have lots of oil. So basically, our economy was based on oil, and didn't like any of them, not either one. And I'm going to explain that. Well, so people were tired of the two parties, Acción Democrática and COPEI, like here. You have the Democrats and the Republicans. And so this guy came out of nowhere, well, actually out of somewhere, because he tried to have a coup for the president at the time in 1992, and he killed a bunch of people. And then um, he got he was put in jail, and then the stupid president Caldera gave forgive him and took him to I don't know, took him to gave him, like, forgive him and let him get out of jail. And not only that, but I mean, I understand that you can get out of jail, but to be the candidate of for president, when you have killed a bunch of people and tried to do a coup for the current president in 1992. Well, he went into elections in 1999, and everybody was crazy about him. I never liked him. I never liked Hugo Chavez. For me, he was not culture. He was a military person. In Venezuela, the militaries are not the same as here, unless they have, like, they're in the huge ranks. He was a piece of shit as far as I was concerned. And when he won, I told my mom, I told my family, sell everything, get out of there, please, because I kind of had this feeling about how things were going to go. Yes, many loved Chavez, but they were stupid. That's why they loved him, because they were not aware of a lot of things that happened later on. But nobody does now. because he was a criminal. Essentially, he was a criminal. He went and killed. He tried to do a coup in 1992, and he killed like 300 people were killed. And for me, that was very violent. I mean, who's gonna elect somebody that does that? I don't know who does, but Venezuelans fail us, fail everybody, fail the intelligent people. Because after Chavez got in power, he changed the constitution so he could be elected over and over again. But the point is that he only won the first time. After the 5 years of government, people start like, no, no, not necessarily. They didn't. Super poor people didn't do better. It was just like they did better for a little while because they didn't work, and they got bonuses from the government by not doing anything. But that's not the idea of, they were given everything for free, and that's not how increase liberty and freedom, and you make a country better, but just by giving away stuff. But he did. He give away a lot of stuff because we were ranking a lot of money because the oil was like $120 per barrel, and we were exporting uh, 3 million barrels per day. So have an idea how much um, exactly we should, and we were. But after Chavez, no, because they just corrupted everything. We used to have $3 million, 3 million barrels that we sold. Okay, now we have 600,000 because Chavez wanted to control everything. He took companies away from people that knew what they were doing, and he just took them away. Like, he didn't buy them, or he didn't. No, he just decided, well, I want that building, I want this company. My cousin got his company taken away from him, and he had to just leave the country. So uh, he was very corrupt, but nobody knew because he was giving things to the poor people for free, like housing and food and stuff like that. But look at us now. That's not the way that you do things. And so he got in debt. He gave the money to all the countries around, like Argentina, Colombia, everywhere. He gave a lot of money to. No, no sanctions. The sanctions just came about 2 months ago. Okay, I'm talking 1999. Chavez had an income of 3 million. Okay, 3 million barrels came out every day, and they were $110. So you do the numbers. That was per day. Okay, our income per year was incredible. We shouldn't have any debt. We should have been building, roads and, and improving people's life. And he didn't do that. He just gave everything away. Chavez and Maduro, both. Chavez started the bullshit. I'm sorry. He started it, okay? Giving money to other countries, buying people over. He did a lot of things in the OEA, Organization of American Countries. Basically bought all the little islands around with oil. Then he and Fidel Castro from Cuba started to be really good friends, and he started bringing Cubans to Venezuela. And we have been giving Cuba 400,000 barrels of oil for free for 20 years. Okay. Now the Cubans are invaded our military. We have 20,000 intelligence G2, they're called Cubans. So that's why, basically we can get not rid of this government because the Cubans are in there trying to avoid this, trying to, they don't want to leave us alone because we're supporting them. They don't do anything. They're just a leech. And they do that to everybody, every country. They don't produce, they don't do anything, they just import repression. And that's what we have. The Cubans kill us. They come and kill us and do all kinds of stuff. They torture our anybody that is against the government. They teach our people how to torture them. The Castros have shown Chavez first how to control the people and what to do. So Chavez changed the constitution. We weren't in our politics. It wasn't allowed for a president to run for 2 periods in a row. That was not allowed in the constitution. So he changed the constitution and he changed all the electoral system, and he started to, like supposedly winning the elections, but he never did. He won the first time and then he never won again. But it was fragile and everything. He started changing the bodies of the government, like the judges were all Chavistas. The Senate was all Chavista. Uh, like things that were supposed to be uh, free from any military start to being Chavista. The military is supposed to be protecting you, and they shouldn't have any affiliation with any government or any ideologies. They have to be faithful to the constitution. That's what their job is. Well, Chavez made sure that all of that changes. So the military was was Chavista. The the Senate was Chavista. The how you call the judges, the all the TCAG, the main judges, they were also Chavistas. So anybody that will say something against him, they will go to jail or they will disappear or stuff like that. They also imported a lot of witchcraft, to the point that this guy took Simon Bolivar, who is the guy that freed us from the Spaniards, our hero. He took this guy out of his tomb, out of his where he was buried. You know, I mean, that's the magnitude of craziness these people had. Uh, so they took, because he thought he was a reincarnation of Bolivar. He was complete from the grave. Exactly, he took Bolivar from the grave, and I don't know what they did with his bones or whatever. I mean, this is a national hero. That's like taking Washington from the grave or Lincoln from the grave. I mean, who does that? Only crazy people. So, well, he started doing all these things. He got a lot of power, a lot of money, and he was just a stupid person without any education and without any sense of responsibility, or he was messed up in the head, completely messed up in the head. And then he allowed the Cubans and Fidel Castro to be his mentor. Come on, Fidel Castro is a piece of shit himself, you know? No, 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 no. Castro doesn't help anybody, sweetie. I don't know why people believe that. They need to there's a Netflix a series where they tell you the story of Cuba, And I know a lot of Cubans. What do you think the Cubans leave Cuba? Because there is a nightmare there, just like we are now. But where I was going with this is that, people doesn't have a clear idea. So Chavez changed everything. The elections were rigged all the time. Uh, that there's no justice. He will point a building and say, "I want that building," and that building was uh, no longer belonged to the person that the building belonged to. He took everything and did nothing. No, there were no new roads built during those 20 years. Nothing. There was no development. There was no maintenance. There was nothing. Our 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 economy is in where it is not because of sanctions. That's what they repeat. That's the same book of Cuba, the same book of communism. Okay, we invaded by Cuba, Russia, China, Iran, the Hezbollah, the FARC, which is the Colombian narcs. They went to Cuba, and with the previous presidents, President Santos, they did a agreement for peace where they were supposed to stop importing cocaine and killing people, because that's what they did. Well, um, and that the same people that uh, is negotiating right now. No, Norway's negotiating right now with with our government and freaking Maduro. Maduro's not the president anymore. Maduro never won the elections. Never. He has never won an election. He was he was finger point by Chavez, and say that he wanted Chavez wanted him to get Maduro to be his successor. But people at this time, they already knew what was going on with Chavez, and they already knew that was not a good idea, and they didn't vote for Maduro. Besides, Maduro's not even Venezuelan. He doesn't have any proofs that he was born in Venezuela. He is an illegitimate president. Nobody likes him in Venezuela. Nobody voted for him ever. Okay, but the elections have been rigged since nine since 2002, when after Chavez won the election. So no elections have been won by this party ever again, because we learned our lesson. We saw where this was going. He took all the things, all the private property. We had a wonderful economy. We had money coming in out of the Gasu. Why wasn't that invested in things, in hospitals, in schools, universities? I mean, we had all that. We had we had the best universities in America. We were a booming economy, a incredible place to live. We had so much immigrants from Europe during the war. Most of us have European descendancy. Then in the 80s, during the 80s, all the people from South America, you know, came to Venezuela because you could do well in Venezuela. You know, um, it was our the bolivar was 4.3 to the dollar. We used to come to Miami to shop. Okay, they used to call us "Está barato, dame dos." Why the first time they voted for Chavez? Because they were tired. They were tired of the two parties. I don't know, where are you from? Where are you from, Beta Boy? And my batteries are going. Oh, shoot, my batteries are gonna go down, and I'm not even close to my whole story. But they voted for Chavez. Oh, Denver! I lived in Denver, Colorado. Are you American, or you are? Okay. Well, I'm glad that you are interested in this subject, because there's people out there, they have like y hablas español. Ay, qué bueno. Bueno, poco a poco. There's people out there. I have seen people in Asia. I have seen people here in the United States protesting. Like they call Hands of Venezuela, or Pink Code, and they defend Maduro. You have to be crazy to defend Maduro, because he's a criminal. He has killed so many of us. So many of us. We got like a third of our population are leaving. We're running. We're getting in boats, and we don't care if we die in the ocean, because we're desperate. He closed the both Colombia and Brazil's um, borders, because he's just a fucker. There's children that die because they don't have medication, normal medication. They're not vaccinating our kids. There's like 7 million people that doesn't have food to eat. The inflation is 1,000,000%. You cannot even fathom that. 1,000,000%. I cannot go home because because I don't have a Venezuelan passport, because there's no Venezuelan consulate. They give you passports, and I cannot go back because I have an American passport, but I don't know if they will let me go out once I'm in. And so Ay, sweetie, but that's nothing. That's nothing. I understand where you're coming from, because believe me, I defended that issue. But imagine you don't have, the government gives you everything, and then gets to the point where you don't have nothing. Okay, and so this is 30 million without insurance is nothing. We don't have medicines. Okay, we don't have normal vaccinations to get chicken pox, and like we have more death than the Syria and the war in Iraq. No sanctions. The sanctions were placed about 2 months ago. We've been dying from before. The sanctions, we are happy with the sanctions, okay? Because we don't want the only money that the government gets. Well, they do narco trafficking, and they explode gold, because we have a lot of gold and a lot of diamonds and all kinds of shit. We're rich in natural resources. So they and cocaine, they used to use our oil company to import cocaine. So there's a lot of money that comes in, and he never used it for anything to buy things that the country needed. They did it to pack it to put it in their pocket. So the sanctions have not affect us. It's not the sanctions. The sanctions were placed 2 months ago. And that's what people, if you listen to the news, and depending on who you listen to, they will say stupid stuff like that. I don't believe, like, there's I have followed, politics so much, and I see the UN. They're they're bad people, because they don't see the drama that the Venezuelan people are going through. Okay. No, but we need to get rid of Maduro, and we cannot do it. We have to get rid of the regimen, but we can't, because he's supported by Russia. We got Russians there, military Russians. We got Chinese there, and they all not interested in the Venezuelans. They don't want the Venezuelans. They